Nobody warned Marcus about the box until it was already too late. It showed up on his doorstep on a Tuesday morning. No return address, no postage, no name. Just a small wooden chest the size of a shoebox, lacquered in deep mahogany with 3 brass latches running along the front. Burned into the lid in thin, careful letters were the words, "Open only when you have nothing left to lose." Marcus almost laughed. He was 34 years old, 2 months behind on rent, and his daughter hadn't spoken to him in 3 years. He figured that qualified. Inside the box was a single folded card. No sender. No explanation. Just 3 lines written in ink so dark it looked almost black. Rule 1. You may wish for anything, but never wish for more than you are willing to give away. Rule 2. The wish is permanent. Think before you speak. Rule 3. Never under any circumstances wish for someone else's pain to end your own. Below the rules, one final sentence, handwritten, shakier than the rest, like whoever wrote it was afraid. I broke all 3. God help you if you do too. Marcus turned the card over. Nothing. He looked back in the box. Empty except for a faint smell, wood smoke and something sweet, like the inside of an old church. His hands were trembling slightly and he didn't know why. Something in his gut told him to close it, lock it, throw it in the river. Instead, he sat down at his kitchen table and made his first wish. He wished for money. Not a fortune. He wasn't greedy, or at least he told himself that. He just wanted enough to breathe again. Enough to keep the lights on and maybe send his daughter something for her birthday. By Friday, his old business partner called out of nowhere. There was an unclaimed commission from a deal they'd closed 4 years ago. A clerical error nobody caught. $12,000 processed and deposited by Monday. Marcus stood in his kitchen holding his phone long after the call ended. $12,000. He hadn't asked for a specific number. He'd just wished. The relief was overwhelming. But underneath it, quiet and cold as a stone at the bottom of a well, was something else. Something that felt a lot like fear. He went back to the box, opened it. The card was still there, exactly as before. He read Rule 1 again. Never wish for more than you are willing to give away. He'd received $12,000. He told himself he'd donate some. He told himself he would. He didn't. The second wish came 3 weeks later, and it wasn't about money. It was about Elena, his daughter. She was 22 now, living across the country with her mother, and the last conversation they'd had ended with her saying she never wanted to hear his voice again. He had earned that, he knew he'd earned it, but the missing her had become a physical thing, like a bruise that never quite faded. He sat in front of the box at 2 a.m, whiskey in hand, and whispered, "I wish she'd call me." He immediately felt it, that strange charged stillness in the air, like the moment before lightning. Then it passed, and the apartment was just quiet again. Elena called the next morning. Her voice was careful, guarded, but she was there, on the phone, talking to him. She didn't forgive him, not that day, but she was willing to try. They talked for 40 minutes. When he hung up, Marcus was crying so hard he couldn't see straight. It took him a full week to realize he'd broken Rule 3. He hadn't wished for his pain to end through her pain, but he'd wished for something that required her to act against her own instincts, her own protection. He'd bent her will without her knowledge, without her consent, and dressed it up as love. The box didn't warn him. It never did. That was the cruelest part. He found the previous owner 2 months later, almost by accident. A name scratched faintly inside the lid that he'd missed the first time. R. Calloway, Dayton, Ohio. One search, one obituary. Robert Calloway, 61 years old, had died alone in a care facility 18 months earlier, survived by no one. Marcus drove to Dayton. He didn't fully understand why. He found Robert's old neighbor, a woman in her 70s named Dot, who remembered Robert with sad, careful eyes. He had a good heart, she said, but he wanted to fix everything. His wife's illness, his son's addiction, his own failures. She paused. You can't fix people by wishing at them. Even with love, especially with love. Marcus asked what happened to Robert's son. Dot looked at him for a long moment. He got better, she said quietly. Out of nowhere, he just got clean. Robert always said it was a miracle. Another pause. But his son never felt like the decision was really his own. Said something inside him always felt borrowed. Never could explain it. Marcus drove home in silence and didn't touch the box for 6 weeks. The third wish almost destroyed him. It came during a phone call with Elena that went wrong. Old wounds reopened, old cruelties resurfaced. She said things that were true, and because they were true, they cut deeper. She said she was done trying. She said she meant it this time. Marcus sat in front of the box for 4 hours. He opened it. He read the rules 3 times. His hand was shaking so badly the card rattled. He wanted to wish away her memory of every bad thing he'd ever done. Just erase it. Give her peace by giving himself mercy. He had his mouth open. The words were right there. He closed the box instead. He sat on his kitchen floor and cried until there was nothing left. Then he picked up his phone and called Elena back, and he didn't ask her for anything. He just told her the truth. All of it. The box, the wishes, what he'd done, and what he'd almost done. He told her about Robert Calloway's son who got clean but never felt free. She was silent for a very long time. Then she said, "Don't ever do that to me again." And he said he wouldn't. Marcus mailed the box away the following week. No note, no instructions, no name on the return address. He didn't know who would receive it. He hoped they'd be smarter than he was. But before he sealed it, he burned a new card to put inside. He wrote 4 lines instead of 3. Rule 1. You may wish for anything, but never wish for more than you are willing to give away. Rule 2. The wish is permanent. Think before you speak. Rule 3. Never, under any circumstances, wish for someone else's pain to end your own. Rule 4. The one I had to learn myself. The things worth having cannot be wished for. They have to be built, slowly and honestly, out of everything you were willing to lose. His relationship with Elena didn't become a fairy tale. There were still hard calls and longer silences and months where progress felt invisible. But it was real. It was hers to give and his to earn, and nothing about it felt borrowed. Some mornings he still thought about the box, the smell of it, the weight of it, the terrifying ease of it, how it offered you everything and quietly kept count. The hardest lesson wasn't that wishes have consequences. Anybody could have told him that. The hardest lesson was this: genuine love doesn't reach for power over the people it loves. Not even gentle power. Not even well-meaning power. It waits. It earns. It shows up without conditions and stays without guarantees. Marcus had spent his whole life wishing things were different. It took a forbidden box and a 4th rule to teach him how to actually change them.